Greetings and a good evening. I am Klaus the Atarangi. Moving the camera right now is Barry Snorovich. Barry.
No, I don't think I will.
Do it! Move the camera.
We're back in Night City!
Yes, we are.
We made it back to Night City!
Yeah, we drove within the game distance all the way to Night City. Welcome back to the Atarangi Talks. Simli is here as well.
Hello!
So this will not have any story progress in it, and any story progress that happens in here will be in an actual video. Actual cyberpunk episode. This is a video on the Atarangi Talks, and we will be talking about cybernetics and cyborgs. Which it felt natural to do it in this game.
Yeah.
We will be doing some cyber cycles. If these happen to have too much story to them, we'll pivot to doing some like active shootouts and go help there.
Yep.
Yeah, just some,
We are currently also actively getting messages from Delamain, but we'll go over all of those in the next actual Cyberpunk recording session.
Yes, which is likely to not be anytime soon after the uploading of this.
And welcome back to another part of Night City after the game decided to crash right after we introed.
Yeah, it seems like that area. There's a Delamain here.
We had crashed too. Electric.
What do you mean Delamain?
Oh, it's our Delamain.
Sorry Delamain.
Sup Delamain. Okay, so let's start off. When did we first learn about cyborgs, lights? What's the first one that actually stuck in your mind?
Shall I begin or you, Barry?
Doesn't matter, just go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna begin. I have to think about what was his name? John Silver from Treasure Planet.
Of course.
That big shit it will maybe help, and I don't
Yeah, I'll
have
be a
picture
bit
of.
faster than you. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
If I get to the chat in time, that is. There it is.
We will fix this in post. That is one of the most prominent characters. I mean.
That's it.
And the game is
over,
over,
man.
Don't worry about it. We'll just keep talking.
Don't worry
Okay, cool.
about it, just keep going.
So his entire right side.
Yeah, that's his right
think
side.
a lot about which you switch. He's like doesn't have limbs anymore. He has a robot arm and leg. And he's got like right side of his face doesn't have his eye anymore, and he has like cybernetics, and you see like on the side of his face like something spinning. And
Right,
those
so
kinds of
he can
things.
change the equipment that his hand is by, he has a revolving cylinder in his forearm, which has several items in it, and then he scrolls to the item he wants, and then it flips his hand into the cylinder, and the item comes out of the cylinder, replacing his hand. He can also grab a part of his leg off, so he can't walk very well anymore when he does that. But he turns his arm into a big cannon when he does that.
That's actually very interesting.
it's a
Yeah.
very bad.
Because he needs heavy stuff that's in his leg to make the cannon on his arm, but he doesn't want to have that weight on his arm the entire time.
Mm-hmm. That is understandable.
Yeah. He can zoom in with his eye, he has laser sights in his eye. He has a bunch of cooking equipment in his arm, because he's a chef.
It is very funny.
He also has a bunch of weapons, because he's also a pirate.
Yarr, matey.
He's a space pirate.
Always useful. Always useful.
Of course.
I don't remember the first time I actually encountered a cyborg.
Said Frankie noises.
Yes. Frankie was definitely not the first.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Because I played,
Deus Ex.
what's the Deus Ex Mankind Divided? Way before I started watching One Piece.
Yes, but you still couldn't remember, so technically Frankie was in the first.
No, but there's gotta be another movie out there somewhere where there's a
Robocop.
cyborg. No,
Technically.
never watched that.
Right,
I mean, technically I saw General Grievous before I saw Frankie, so...
Yeah.
You know about it?
Or Darth
Yeah,
Vader.
that doesn't really count though.
It's also actually a cyborg.
No, cyborgs just naturally came to me as I am very big on technology, and my
Yeah,
body
cool.
wasn't that great, so I just decided, you know what, let's fix it with technology.
Indeed. What else are you going to do? This magic?
Holy heck! Okay, well, these people must die.
The stream's not on, by the way, but
Yeah. You're not streaming, mate.
he's
How dare
recording
you.
though, so the viewers have been watching Cyberpunk.
But we couldn't. Fire.
Speaking of,
Fire.
General Grievous is a pretty interesting example of a cyborg.
Yes.
As the good general himself, of course, is almost entirely robotic. I'm sure most people know what General Grievous looks like, but just in case you don't,
Get one tapped!
this is General Grievous, of course. Now in Grievous's case, his eyes, brain, lungs and heart are the only organs he has left. The rest is all robotic.
That's more than I would keep.
I mean, that's pretty much all you need. So.
Yeah,
Eyes
and
are
I
difficult
didn't
to
think
replace.
he really got the
Eyes are
choosing
indeed
the-
difficult to replace.
Lungs you need. Yes, Grievous was turned into a cyborg without being asked.
Which is really sad. that-
Also, he has chips and stuff and coding in his brain that makes him think like he chose it for himself.
You are
Yo,
crushing a
Barry
lot,
straight
mate.
up not having a good time right
Yep.
Another cyborg character in Star Wars is Darth Vader.
now. Yes, whose suit has been specifically designed to give him pain, so it hurts.
Yeah,
So he gets angry.
so you get more angry and more. It's easily to get angry.
Barry, why don't you take the time of Cyberpunk restarting to put one of your pictures in?
No. We'll get there when we get there.
Now, of course, cyborgs don't just exist in fiction.
Indeed.
There's several types of real prosthetic arms. A simple example.
Those are actually really interesting.
Or just only part of a hand is also something that
Mhm.
exists.
Of course.
Yes.
Simli's is a purely mechanical one, mine's an electrical one.
And then there's also the ones where you remap your nerves,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I think, really interesting technology.
One that
Um,
you usually don't see, but that might come more in the future is, for example, this man here is controlling an arm. It's not attached to him, but he's controlling an arm with a brain cap. Of course, in the
That's
future,
awesome.
it might be possible to put the brain cap in the skull of the person.
That would definitely be interesting.
And that way you could control it without having to have surgery. Which is, well, without having too much surgery inside of the brain. Which
Yeah,
I'm sure many
want to
people
keep the
would
surgery in
prefer.
that area as low as possible.
The human brain is definitely really interesting, and if we're talking about cybernetics, modifying a human brain is definitely not going to be easy. I mean, there is a lot of compact stuff right there, and if we look at the biology of it, an electric system this complex would take up way much more space.
Yeah,
Kind of like the first few computers. I mean, they also took up a lot of space.
you mean like
So-
a whole chamber
Yes.
and then starts
remember that.
overheating when you ask them do two times 2. Explosions? Yes,
just running
use the
around.
car.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Fuck these guys. I'm just going to drive away in the sunset. If you wanted to stop that car, you did it very effectively. If not, why did you do that? To control the car.
I was also like it when they go like, yeah, mantis blades or whatever. Gotta remember, if you want to do something like that in real life, gotta make it fit in the arm and still have the functionality of an arm.
Yeah, of course. And
which is very complicated.
to swing back to Barry mentioned brains, something that goes into a brain is trying to give a blind person vision. Which, for the people that don't actually know,
What in the fuck?
we have done this.
Really?
Yes. But they don't see very well.
Well,
So early versions gave you a grid like this to see.
the hell is this?
So the small spheres.
Better look around.
That's what the vision looked like. But that's someone that has been born completely blind that can then see that.
yeah, that is actually.
Which is a sizable upgrade. And since then there has been major leaps and bounds to stuff like this.
Whoa. Whoa.
Which is
That's awesome.
the bottom two are actually getting kinda usable.
Oh wow.
Bottom left
Like
is a
actual
recognizable
faces.
face, bottom right is recognizable as a hallway.
Yeah, then it's like. Well, if you're blind and you don't know how these things are supposed to look like.
Yeah, of course, but you can use it.
Yeah, you can use it.
Definitely usable.
A quick link to an article talking about this for people who are curious. Now, most people you ask about prosthetics think about an arm like John Silver's or the real ones we've shown you. But of course, if you're going robotic arms, nothing is stopping you from going for a non-human model.
Yeah, indeed.
Rude.
To
Go
give
for
a
the crap
simple
arm.
example, you could get a soft arm, because these arms are not soft. They're hard. In fact, you could go for an arm completely without bones. By taking what is not prosthetic right now, but is called a Vine robot. Which works like this. Low pressure air goes in and unrolls basically a inverted plastic bag. Now if you do this with multiple bags, you can steer the robot. Which this gets done. Let me see if I can.
Just as you with that arm, just do your arm between a door and.
Yeah, you can move
Like,
through tight
my
spaces. And you can keep moving after the tight space. Like this.
That's so awesome.
And it doesn't have to be on the floor. To give another example. You can turn it with stuff like this.
Ooh.
And then you just put a hand on the end, for example. This one has a hard cap on the front, which happens to be a bottle.
That's
To protect the
actually
camera.
hilarious.
So that just lets it snake through anything. It's low pressure, by the way. It's just 1 atmosphere of pressure. So if holes get punched into it, it still works.
That's actually really useful.
It gets weaker the more holes are in it, but it still works.
How much can it lift without any holes?
Well, it doesn't lift much right now, but like if you increase pressure, you increase lifting power, of course.
Yeah, but
These are mainly being used for search and rescue right now, and for going into like the breathing tubes of Homo sapiens to supply them with air. Because doctors right now like push a rubber hose into your throat, and that can damage your throat. These do not damage your throat when going in.
no, they can, but
No, they can't.
are made
They
so
don't
that
move.
they don't.
Ouch.
Like there is no friction on these, because they're not actually moving, they're expanding into an area.
Yeah, they're just becoming larger, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can post a GIF. Yes, I can.
Yes. The last bit. Whoop.
Surprise, motherfucker. And some more modern ones can be steered as well. These are also being considered as movable radio antennas, where they just like make a helix going up into the air. It's a pretty new field, though it's not doing much yet.
They will find uses probably for it.
I mean, there's plenty of uses, it just gotta get a bit better. So, you got anything, Sammy? You've had some time to look stuff up.
No, I was mostly listening. Another part of what is experimenting with cybernetics are of course also, if you want, exosuits. I mean,
You can do exosuits.
yeah, we can
See military
Exosuits
experiment.
are pretty interesting.
yeah, I mean it can, like, cybernetics help people that are not able to move very well, or
They're
in this
basically
picture.
external cybernetics.
yeah. I mean the difference is it is on your body and it's in your body. Uses for like exosuits are also, like, as you can see, military. Like that the military can use. Well, it can
Mostly
have
experimental,
more weight.
no military actually uses them.
Yeah, but I'm
Problem with both cybernetic and exosuits is most of them use way too much power. Like if you
Yeah.
want good performance, it's gonna use a lot of power.
we need a small nuclear reaction reactor.
Reaction reactor.
Well, also a reaction, just a little bit.
Yeah, better way to store power would be useful for cybernetic.
Good.
Of course, another problem to bring up with cybernetics is if cybernetics become commonplace, so a lot of people use it, rich people are gonna be objectively superior to poor people at almost everything. Gonna be faster, smarter, stronger,
There's
man, I
battery
should
power
die.
for it.
less dead than Barry is.
Yep, less dead than I am. It would definitely make a lot of ethical problems appear.
Kowalski.
There will definitely also be
Pull him to
different
that counter.
tiers of cybernetics.
Yeah, of course.
Rich
Rich people are gonna be objectively better at everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is, in general, it is already.
The gap between
for
the
rich
rich and the
people.
poor will probably grow.
Yeah, it will get larger and harder to cross.
Yep. Definitely.
Which these are not questions of if, these are questions of when.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can see like that might stop it or like limit it a lot is if like cybernetics become quite cheap. himself. And like the most expensive part is like putting it in.
Yeah, surgery will always be kinda expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really also see your insurance covering for it. I mean,
Simply
unless
don't
it-
use words that scare US viewers.
What do you mean? Healthcare.
No. Free healthcare.
There is no such thing as free
Yeah,
health.
there's no such yes, free
Yeah.
healthcare.
No, I was trying to get him non-lethally, but the modification system in this game allows us to not unbind the mod once we've installed it. So,
Two headshots.
this is what we're doing. Let's make this a little more interesting.
Come on.
I'm going to eat you!
You're taking burning damage, you don't need to eat.
Yeah. Tip, if it's going to do a big hit, go with your back. Because
Imagine
killing-
you can dodge by double tapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Right now several people have cybernetic arms that can already do things human arms cannot, like turning your hand 360, like just keep turning your head.
That is so fun. You can
Yeah.
just basically become the drill.
Become the drill. I mean, just holding a
Got it.
screwdriver.
And of course, where does this go in sports?
I mean, you're gonna just eventually form sports that are just for cybernetic people.
Yeah. Or but there
Maybe
will
also
probably be
genetic modded people,
regulations
because-
that, like, this is like the maximum you can go.
Because like that's the problem. A lot of times when you play a game like this, like Cyberpunk or whatever, it's always like cybernetics or you know, like AIs or whatever. But it's never just the mix of where we're headed in the future, which is the mix of both genetically modded humans, cybernetically modded humans, and then also we will probably have AIs around as well. And that's something that not a lot of series go to.
Yeah.
Now,
most leave
for-
out genetic modification.
Yep, but it's gonna be very interesting to see what sports will become, because it's probably gonna be either a mix of genetic and cybernetic humans, or it's just gonna be something entirely different. We don't know.
Because already it's getting extremely close for someone with non-flesh boy legs and someone with flesh boy legs.
Mm-hmm.
It's predicted that pretty soon the sprint record for the Paralympics is gonna be higher than for the Olympics. It's
Really?
not there yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there.
Which right now sprint in Paralympics would be run with something like this right here, which isn't even robotic, yet it
Yeah,
still
but-
gets almost to the same performance as human legs.
Yeah.
Yep, those types of legs are definitely interesting. I thought I killed this girl, but apparently she's still alive.
I'm a bitch.
So I guess
Job's well done.
our blades don't kill people like this.
I mean, they probably do. We probably got lucky. We got a job completing popping up.
Yep.
Oh,
On to
yeah.
the next cyber psycho, I guess.
To the next mission.
That's another very interesting thing. We're currently beating cyber psychos, but that's another enemy type that will appear in the future. Currently, we have a lot of crime.
Yes. Enemy
Once
type.
the criminals become cyborgs, so will the law enforcement have to become cyborgs, and preferably with better modifications, so that
I mean,
they
that's
can
not
protect
actually
the
how that
civilians.
works, Barry. If you give the police better equipment, the crime will just get better equipment to match.
Yeah.
That is true.
In general, the better equipped the police of a country are, the better equipped the crime in that country is.
That is actually true.
It's actually terrifying if you
So
think
you
about
kinda
it.
just wanna give your police the least equipment they need to get their job done.
And then give the better equipment to another
military.
rank, military and stuff.
Yeah, if something really goes wrong, you call in the military anyway.
Yeah.
That is correct.
And preferably.
Of course, when going cybernetics, and especially if they go into your brain, you're risking companies deciding things for you.
Yes. Companies like
Neuralink.
the one from Elon Musk with Neuralink. I am
But even
very
in,
like even someone like me who is very big on
Yes.
cybernetic mods and stuff. I just call what they are making trash, because the basis of the communication system is wireless, which is just asking for problems.
Yeah.
yeah, if you're
If you're gonna
wireless,
put
you
a
can
chip
be
in
hacked.
someone's, if you're gonna put a chip in someone's brain, make it like, work wired.
Well, you could
Yeah.
grab a
If you
reeds
want-
only.
If you wanna go with wireless communication, then
Reeds
I
only.
mean, reads only, or like being able to turn it off on hardware would also be
Yeah.
a plausible
Yeah,
thing.
but even if you
Um,
can turn it off on hardware, that means whilst you're sleeping, someone can turn it on hardware.
Yes, that's a danger that's always
Yes.
going to be there. I do believe that eventually, even if cybernetics are a thing, the more we learn about the brain, the more we'll be able to control it.
Of
So
course.
even if you're just a normal human without a chip in your head, you're going to be able
Yeah,
to
of
get
course,
hacked
you're
at some point.
manipulated constantly, even right now.
That is true.
Yes. You are now
Like
playing.
ads are
Absolutely
designed,
correct.
even if you don't think they're doing it, specifically to work well.
Mhm.
I'm
Even
going
if
to
you
manip-
believe ads aren't working very well on you, they are.
Indeed. I'm
They
gonna
are.
manipulate now everyone.
Which is why I am going to definitely buy some real water after this content. Content is recorded.
Yes. And I'm gonna buy some chupa chups. Chupa chups. Delicious lollies.
Don't put ads for actual products in me.
If he
And
can
also
do it,
don't
I
put
will
ads
do
for
it
the
too.
Lonely Goomba.
Yes, but the real water is from the game.
That's the
Yeah, but he's doing a Lonely Goomba reference. That's another YouTuber reference.
Ah,
Don't worry about it. So, of course, what I wanted to bring up, they don't need to be in your brain to make you do things. So imagine,
why not?
let's imagine car companies start making robotic parts, cybernetic parts.
Yes.
Which makes sense to me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So imagine you have legs coming from, I don't know, BMW.
Would they come with or without the blinkers?
No,
Those
so
are optional.
I just want to say,
Those are optional.
BMW can just decide to put a subscription on sprinting. So you can't sprint unless you pay for it each month.
That would definitely be a dick move.
And they
Yeah.
can also do it months after they have started installing the legs on people.
I think with cybernetics, the law is definitely going to be important, and I think the law should protect the people from companies.
Yeah, but that's
from
not
doing
how
that.
it's gonna happen. No, is
Yeah,
it?
No, that is sadly how
The law's gonna be behind 10 years at all times, as always.
Yep.
And the law's gonna be written by lobbyists from the big companies selling the parts.
True.
Because that's how this goes.
And then 20 years later, finally,
Yeah, 20
They're
years
good.
later they'll fix the mistakes. Because then
Yeah.
they'll understand what happened.
This game is so broken that even the loading screen broke there. No, it's definitely going to be interesting. The thing is, we never know where the future is gonna go. We can estimate,
Of course.
but it's definitely like it could always go differently. So
Well, yes, but like rich people getting better cybernetics and being objectively better than other people isn't that's how it might go. That's just that is how
that
it's
is
gonna go.
definitely true.
yeah,
That will definitely happen.
Like cybernetics are happening. They're already happening.
indeed, we cannot
Yes.
stop it anymore. They're coming.
and we can only control it
But
slightly.
in my very unbiased and objective opinion, the point of no return for humans when we stopped being natural was the first time we picked up a spear and we put some clothes on. That's
Yeah,
the last
that
time
is-
we were not modified.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The moment the species starts using tools is the moment that they are no longer the just
Yes.
natural beings.
And especially when you put on clothes, which is armor against weather or attacks, you have modified yourself. You might not think of it, but clothes are an exosuit. They're not a powered
Technically, yeah.
exosuit, but they are an exosuit, providing you with benefits.
Indeed.
Like heat.
Like heat, protection from cuts. Any t-shirt will protect you from cuts.
And no, he's not talking big ass knives being stabbed into your stomach.
Of course not.
But
But they'll protect you from light cuts.
yes.
And slight impact, depending on how thick the shirt is.
Indeed. Like
So
Ego.
that's the point of no return for me. Same with genetic manipulation. The point where... Let me go grab some pictures here.
Now I know why every car in this game drives so slow when you're driving along with someone.
Hmm?
It's so that the map has time to fucking load properly. So that the game crashes less.
So for genetic manipulation, the point where corn started looking like this. Let me go get the...
Yes.
Let me go get
Is someone grabbing the
corn
popcorn
used to.
while I wait?
So here. The moment corn started looking like that, instead of here's boterham, water and old school corn. So this is the change that happened to corn.
Old corn definitely looked a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and so it had like 12 kernels on it that were stone hard and not digestible.
How did we do this?
Oh, you can grind it to make flour, that does work. You can also pop it to make popcorn. All corn originally was for popcorn. No joke, that's a fact. Popcorn is the reason corn was domesticated, and then they started making flour out of it as well.
Yeah,
And other
makes sense.
stuff probably.
And looking at the clock, that's about the end of the episode.
Yes, indeed.
We will see you next time around.
See you guys.
See ya.